Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing great and everything is groovy at your end. This is the first day of, today we are having an introductory session of Azure and cloud. Today you can get started with your cloud journey, and today we are having an expert speaker, Shreyan J. So he'll be talking about the basics of cloud computing and everything, how you can get started with cloud computing. He is here to share his journey about cloud computing, how he got started with the cloud, and how has been his journey changed the cloud and everything. So let me introduce a brief about the speaker. He is Gold Microsoft Ambassador, having a multi-phase personality in cloud architecture, having an edge after blockchain. So this is all about our expert speaker. So over to you, Shayan.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Lakshit, for that. Yeah, so I'll keep the introduction when I'm going to the slides. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen now. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes, it's visible to us.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll just put on the screen share mode. Yeah, perfect. So hello everyone. As Lakshit said, my name is Shreyan Fernandez, and sorry, currently a gold ambassador. I'm sorry, I So currently a gold ambassador at Microsoft, and I have worked in a startup before where I was handling the AI section, and I was also the president there. And currently, I'm interning at KPMG India as an analyst, and I'm a hackathon enthusiast. So I've taken part in various hackathons, be it from Microsoft and various other organizations, national and international level as well. And I'm Python MTA certified as well. And yeah, I do occasionally write blogs and stuff, and I have delivered my sessions at various global platforms like Azure Cloud Summit 2021 and many other conferences, AI Student Conference and stuff. So it's interesting to spread knowledge about tech any day, right? So and my domains of interest lie in artificial intelligence, blockchain, DevOps, web dev, extended reality, cloud computing, IoT robotics, and power platform. So currently, I work majorly on the sectors that are related to blockchain and extended reality. So those are my LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn profile. You guys can follow me there, and that's the link to my GitHub profile. And if you want to read my blogs and stuff, where do I publish them? So definitely check out the dev.to, and Shreyan1999 is my username. So you can read out the blogs there. I write about AI, blockchain, DevOps, and a lot of other interesting stuff going on. So that's about me. And without further delay, let's just go ahead and see what's the agenda for today. What are we going to do? What are we going to cover in this whole session? So firstly, it will be a hands-on session for all of you. It won't just be like a theoretical session. I'll try to keep it more practical as possible, because I know many of us are already aware of all these things. Whatever I'm going to cover today, probably you guys already know this much better than me, probably, right? So let's see, how do we practically use it? Why exactly are we using cloud? How exactly can we leverage that, and how can we go around working with a few things? Let's just see that everything. So what is cloud and what is cloud computing? The first thing that we'll be covering. And then, when is cloud optimal? Where can Microsoft Azure play a pivotal role? How can Microsoft Azure help us in development? And why Microsoft Azure? I don't know who the target audiences are, be it a student or be it a professional developer. Let's see how will Azure help us in all these phases, right? So firstly, let's see what is cloud and what is cloud computing. So when we say cloud, it's kind of like, a very vague term. Like, what can I say? Clouds are, when we were small, we just know what are clouds, right? So clouds are those things what go on the um, in the sky. But eventually, tech term of cloud is not that. So basically, cloud is something that, there are a couple of computing resources that are hosted in other place where you cannot actually see. So but you want that compute power, you want it to be delivered to you. So how can they deliver it to you? That can be done over the internet. And so, in short, I can say that, it's delivering the computing resources over the internet. Be it like, what are these computing resources? Right now, one can ask me, what is computing resource? So be it your virtual machine, be it a serverless infrastructure, and containers, like, DevOps uses a lot of them. So all these things are delivered to you at your home or at your office through internet. So this is basically what cloud deals with, and this is what cloud computing deals with, right? So compute servers are the network community machines that are located in a distant data center. So be it the data center hosted by many tech giants, be it Microsoft, which has its own data centers, and in India there is the fourth new data center that's coming up, and then there are storage databases uh, that are located on servers in the data center, and analytics and intelligence interact with the people in the natural way. So basically you can leverage any computing resource over the internet. That's what cloud is all about. And it's not just that. Now one can ask me, like, there are a couple of other options in cloud. Like, what cloud to a layman is, like, basically you can store things somewhere, right? Like, for example, Google Drive gives us 15 GB of storage space. So what is that? That also is a cloud. That is a application of the cloud, right? So but cloud is much more beyond that. It is not just limited to storing things on the in a distant server, but it is much more beyond that. Let's see how is it much more beyond that in this session today. So let before going ahead, let's see how did computing evolve from that long time. It's not just existing in like 4 5 years from now or something like that. It was existent from a very long time. And the thing that we are seeing today, the phase of computing that we are seeing today, is just a uh, it's a development of probably a century, I guess. So let's see, where did it start from? So initially there were all mechanical things, I know, and then in 1877 came the grand calculator. And then the evolution of electronics started. This is where the technology started to take a huge turn here, right? So AT&T order in 1939, and then shaky reasoning robot came in 1969. In fact, this term artificial intelligence is also not something very new, or came up in a decade or something, but it was actually in the Dartmouth conference that it actually came to existence, or it actually came to life. So there's a huge history of AI, but I won't get into much details of that. That would be something, out of the scope today. But let's see how computing evolved. So after that, GUI, graphical user interface, came in the year 1981, and by now the computers were already making its way to the tech field, and they were extensively being used. And then in 1992, Sphinx voice recognition came in, and then WAM self-driving car in 1994. So, and after that, probably in, I guess, in this 90s itself, so Microsoft Azure came to existence. Yes, you heard it right. So it is not something that came in the previous decade or something. It came in the 90s itself. So initially, this was called as uh, Project Red Dog. So yes, that you heard that right. So initially, Microsoft Azure was called as Project Red Dog by Microsoft, and then when it came back in, I mean, recently in, I guess, 2012 or 2014, it was changed to Microsoft Azure. So before that, the word Azure existed in 2001, if I'm not wrong, but it was called Windows Azure or something. I'm not exactly sure of what the term was, but yeah, initially it was called a Red Dog, and now it was actually called as Project Red Dog. That was a code word probably, and now it is widely known as Microsoft Azure. And it is being probably used by a lot of them there. Like, many tech companies are going, the big fours, and there are a lot of other tech companies that are using this as well. They're leveraging the services from Microsoft Azure. So let's see what is the way ahead from here. So, I mean, this pandemic has taught us one thing, that yes, the data can be generated enormously. And one best example for this is the Microsoft Teams, which was very hardly used before, this lockdown. Schools never used Teams, and there were a lot of other things, right? But schools never used Teams, colleges never used Teams. But when this pandemic hit us, we weren't sure, but the only way to was to go completely virtual, completely online. Even the place where we are sitting today, we are virtually conferencing here, and a lot of data is being generated. So of course the data that is being generated is going to be huge. Again, this is just the start. So from here would be something of the big data, the compute power, and we need, when the data is increasing, so definitely you need more and more powerful algorithms to process all this data. So that is the way out there. AI is going to play a major role now, and a lot of things are going to happen. But this is how the whole computing system has evolved. And again, the best part is the second point that you can see here, the compute power, right? So when the data is increasing, you need a lot of compute power. But again, of course, there is no need to worry here, because all such compute power for you will be delivered by the respected tech companies. Like, for example, Microsoft Azure, it is every day upgrading itself to not have a breakdown or anything as such. So they are maintaining the data centers according to the standards of the today's need. So now let us see, why exactly should I prefer cloud? Of course, there are a lot of other theoretical things that, there are different types of cloud, there are different types of servers, and I'm pretty sure all of us might be knowing this very well. So the public cloud, the hybrid cloud, the private cloud, and a lot of stuffs like that. But now let's see, why exactly should we prefer cloud, right? This might be a question. Oh, why cannot I do it on my own? Why should I prefer cloud? Yes, so that's what we are going to see here. The firstly, the security. So if you are gonna have your own, like let's say, system setup, so initially a few years down the lane, so you had to set up everything on your own. If you had to host your own website, so you had to give the necessary servers that you need, the necessary cooling systems that you need, and most importantly, the security that you need, right? But with the cloud, with the advent of the cloud, and with more and more users going into this atmosphere of cloud, so this thing has somewhere come down. The security part is being handled by these companies again. So there is no need for you to worry about, oh, will my data be, like, tampered, or is it under risk? So you're giving it to someone. Okay, is how can Microsoft guarantee about my data, right? So there is no need to worry, absolutely, because they have definitely the world class infrastructure when it comes to security. So they are doing their best there. And next comes the privacy. Again, the term is self explanatory. The privacy is also stored. And then comes the high availability. Let's say if you are having your own, what can I say, a small server at your home, and now let's say there's a power cut, or if there is any other thing, what can we say, the internet is down, right? So what will you do? Well, very evidently your website is going to be, not working for the next couple of hours till your things are restored back to normal, right? So that is an issue, because let's say your website is something that is very popular, and you can't, what do you say, you can't actually tend to lose any customers in that way. So that's actually a negative side, because you are handling everything and you are doing everything, but again, um, because of some issues, your website is going down and you're losing your reputation. That is something that you cannot tend to do. So keeping this in mind, Microsoft has actually taken care of everything, and the data centers are never shut down. Trust me, they're never shut down, and the resilience is perfect and everything is great here. So the availability of those servers is to the mark, right? So there are a lot more other things which I'll probably leave a link at the end. You guys can explore more on why exactly is this the reason. There are a lot of other factors. If I say, it will probably take the whole session out here, so I'm not going into the depth of that. But of course, I'll leave the link at the end. And then the scalability. This, I'll take a very simple example here. Let's say, any e-commerce website, right? Any XYZ e-commerce website. Let's say I'm having a traffic today, like let's say there are 10 people who are accessing my website. But now suddenly what happens, I put up a sale on my website, the e-commerce site. So very evidently that, when you put up a sale, there are going to be a lot of discounts and stuff, and people are going to rush to that, and your traffic might go to like what, 100, 120. But your server is only capable of doing 10 people at a time, right? Not 100. So what happens at that time if a lot of people try to access the site? So be it any results site, usually this happens with the exam results site, right? So if there are a lot of people who are trying to access that, then definitely, um, it's gonna crash, right? It's gonna crash every single time, and again, that is not good for the reputation of the website. So what can we do? What is the solution here? So when the traffic increases, imagine the cloud scales it again, right? The cloud kind of scales that according to the traffic that is coming in. That's exactly, this is an example that I gave you of e-commerce website. This can be any other thing as well. But again, when it comes to cloud, your um, the compute power is increased according to the incoming traffic or whatever the other factors are. So that's how you can get a easily scalable website here. And of course, when the traffic goes down, you can again put it down everywhere. So this is what we mean by scalability. It is highly flexible, highly scalable, and you, the best part is, I'll come to that next. When it comes to cost, so it is a pay as you go model. Like let's say, this is the best example for pay as you go. So like let's say there are these respective departments who in every state in India, which actually gives you this electricity, like they deliver it to your home. So you just pay for what you use, right? You don't pay for the entire electricity that is being generated. You just pay according to the units that you have consumed per month. So similarly, that same logic is applied here as well. So you just pay for whatever the computing resources that you have used, and not the whole computing resources that is available. So now again, that leads me to the next point, that is lower cost. The costs are pretty much low here because okay, let's take this example. You are setting up your own data center. Oh, sorry, not the data center, the server. So now there are two types of costs that I can talk about here. One is called the capital expenditure. The another one is called the operational expenditure. So firstly, speaking about the capital expenditure, so that is something like a one-time investment, right? So the server infrastructure, for example, the whole machine, the whole setup that you get, right? And along with that, the other things like be it the cooling system or be it the electricity part, or something like that, which you do just once. So I can put this under capital expenditure. That is something, the first part. And then the next part is the operational expenditure. So the amount of electricity that you have to give it, and the amount of what do you say, the maintenance that you do every time. There'll be wear and tear. Definitely there'll be wear and tear when you're using any electronic device or any electronic things, right? So there'll be a wear and tear, so you'll have to fix that every time. So all these things, so to keep that system running, whatever the cost that you incur that comes under the operational cost. So of course here both of them are pretty high, because in the first place you have to get the infrastructure, you have to install that, and then you have to do all the necessary things. The cooling must be great, because of course use your laptop for like 10 hours continuously, a laptop gets heated up. So imagine that is the fate with a single laptop. Imagine keeping up the servers piled up, and then so imagine the heat that is being produced, and if you just keep it like that, that's definitely a uh, bad side for that, right? So it will just get heated up. So of course, so the costs are pretty much high if you are not opting for cloud, and the costs are pretty much low here if you are opting for cloud. And not just the cost, it's a hassle free solution for you. There is no need, absolutely no need for you to sit and see, oh, whether it is going down or there is no tension at all. Like, there is no stress, zero stress, because the all stress of yours is handled by Microsoft at their data centers. So these are the benefits of the cloud in a very short term, right? These are all the benefits that any cloud provides, but of course Microsoft Azure is also a cloud, so that is also the thing. So now let's see, what does Microsoft Azure again provide you specially? What are the things that they have? So of course, in security and management, when it comes, there is security portal. I'll just show you a security center, and I'll just show you what is Azure portal. Then there is Active Directory, Key Vault, Marketplace, and lot of other stuffs. I'll just show them to you uh, through the demo right now after this thing. So media and CDN, there are a couple of media and CDN services. There is integration. So all this comes under as platform services. As I said, there are infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So there are different other things. So let's see what comes under the platform as a service, right? Platform services that are offered to you. So there is data. When it comes to data, there are this databases. We have Azure Cache for Redis and table storage, Azure Search, Cosmos DB, a lot of other databases. Then when it comes to intelligence, this is something that I am a big fan of Microsoft Azure, because the intelligence services that they give, like be it the bot service, the bot frameworks, I'm pretty sure many of us must have heard it by now, right? The bot frameworks and the cognitive services, it's a stack. The cognitive services is just a name. There is this is a huge thing. There are a lot more other things that are there under cognitive services. Let's see, if time permits, we'll see that as well. And then there is Azure ML Studio, but of course the Azure ML Studio is being retired in 2024 by Microsoft. But there is a way out for that, which is called as Azure ML Service. It has something called a Studio Designer, so probably you guys can go ahead and use that. The best part of Azure ML Studio is there is no need to code anything as such. When I say something about machine learning, or when I say something about data science, the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, that involves a lot of coding, right? So I need to be better at coding in order to get that model up and running, or something like that. So yes, now those days are gone. You can do it even without coding. So how? Well, Azure ML Studio is your solution there. So I mean, you can try till 2024, and then migrate to the next Studio Designer part. But of course, It's no longer a dream that you have to be a you can sorry, you can run a model without coding. So yes, that is possible now. You can run your own models without coding a single line of code, and all thanks to Azure ML Studio. So you can try that out as well. And then there's some other side here which is called as analytics and IoT, where you have again stream analytics, data lake storage, and IoT hub is a great platform if you want to use for any telemetry related application, especially when you're working with IoT. I guess IoT Hub is a decent and a very great platform you can use. Event Hubs is also same thing. Power BI, I think many of us are familiar with. And then the developer services here is, of course, Visual Studio Code is found in every single developer's laptop, right? Visual Studio Code, and everything. And then there is Azure DevOps, which I think companies use a lot. Any huge tech firms use that a lot. Mobile engagement. Xamarin is again uh like Flutter. I'm pretty sure many of us must have heard about Flutter and things like it's a cross-platform development for mobile applications. So similarly, Xamarin is an offering from Microsoft. I would suggest you all to go ahead and try your hands on Xamarin. It's a great SDK you can use. And then application platform, there are mobile apps. You can host your web applications, and functions app, which is actually a serverless application which you can use. And then there is service fabric, then a lot of other application platforms. And then when it comes to compute services, this is what we initially defined cloud computing as. So what are the compute resources that are available? So there is VM scale sets, virtual machines, and stuff. So and then there's Azure batch, container services, and a dev slash test lab. And then if you want to have any integrations, right, you want to create your own APIs and link it to something. You want to create your own API, but you don't want to code again, right? If you want to avoid coding, and if you want any designer, so of course Azure Logic Apps is a great platform for you to do that. And then there's API management, service bus. But I would definitely show you around how actually an Azure Logic App looks like. But again, it's a great platform if you want to create your own APIs. Let's say a simple API. If I take an example, get and post API, right? I have to create one get API and a post API to a simple database. So how do I do that? So definitely Azure Logic Apps is a solution for you. Definitely, apart from, you can do the same with functions app as well, but of course you need to write a little bit of code here and there to get that happening. But Azure Logic Apps, trust me, zero coding, and you can get it done. Of course, there, if you want some more modifications to your thing, so definitely you can go ahead, add a thing there and code. But of course, I have done many tasks with Azure Logic Apps even without writing a single line of code, right? And then the infrastructure services are again compute services also are there, which are not the ones that come under platform, but they are purely under the infrastructure services. In that, you can say virtual machines, containers, and Azure Kubernetes. And then there is storage, blob queues, files, and disks. And then there is networking, as you can see. And then below that comes the data center infrastructure, how it is. I'm pretty sure how we must all have seen how a data center looks like. So without further delay, let's see how I have leveraged Azure in my own projects. So this was one of the projects that I had worked with initially. So this was actually kind of a real time tracking of of a bike. Like, let's say there is a bike going on the road, and I want to track. This was specially built for the racer motorsports. So let's say there is a bike race that's going on, and we have seen that a lot of racers lose their life as well in the while they're racing, right? So how do we control this? That was the solution, that was the question. And then we came up with a solution where we had fitted sensors onto this bike, and we created a digital clone of the same. And we started streaming the values, like let's say tire, the PSI of the tire, right? That was also being streamed, and it was shown on a website where there was a 3D model of the bike, and then it was showing, yeah, this is the PSI currently you're maintaining. And then what is the battery level, what's the fuel level, and many other parameters. So how did I do this using the micro, and this was totally built on Microsoft's Azure. So let's see how did I do that. So firstly, a HTTPS request was sent again to the web app, and there was this backend server again that was hosted on Azure. and there was again a HTTPS communication here. And as I said, the top one, the event stream, the one above that, that was the IoT hub that we used. So from the sensor, the data was streamed to the IoT hub, and from there it was streamed to the backend server, and from the backend server it was coming to the web app, and where the 3D model was integrated, and it was going to the right place where the holder was placed. So this is one of the site. Now let's say we wanted to analyze it again. We wanted to see how can we analyze the data. So again, to do that, we had used stream analytics, and then a couple of other services, as we can see here, and then finally we had streamed it to the Power BI, where we actually could see how was the graph in real time and a lot of other things. Of course, we had to store it somewhere, so we had used a storage service from the infrastructure thing I showed you here below, right? The blob storage or the disk storage, the queues, that comes under the infrastructure services. So we had used something from that part to store the data that was being generated. So this stored data might for any other further data analysis or something like that, so we had to store it as well. So this is how I purely used Microsoft's technologies, Microsoft tech stack, to get this done. So this is the another project that I worked on. If you guys want to follow this particular project, so it is available as a learn module on Microsoft Learn. It's called Building Intelligent Bots Using Azure Health Bot. I've authored 4 modules in that. So this is, you can find the same picture in one of the module, where you are actually trying to integrate the bot to a database. So how did I do this using Azure? Right, so there is a platform called as Azure Health Bot. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. So this is a platform specially for conversational bots. You can build a lot of conversational bots, especially for healthcare services. A couple of healthcare services that are already using this are, for example, let's say Aurora Healthcare Service, and a lot more. CDC, I guess, Center for Disease Control, and a few more are using the Azure Health Bot already. So let's see. So there was this data connection call that I had to do, which actually sent the data that the user inputted from the bot to this particular logic app. So this was my API now. So this API, what it did, it was able to post the data and also get the data from the SQL database. So again, the SQL database was hosted on Microsoft Azure, which cannot be directly accessed, but of course there's a server related to that, so SQL server. So it went through that pipeline, and finally I was able to retrieve the data or even to post the data to the database. So again, the way I have built this connector or that particular logic app, right, without even writing a single line of code, can be of course found in that learn module. I would leave a link to that later on at the end. So yeah, this is how I leveraged Microsoft Azure again in one of my project. Yeah, so this was another project that I worked on using blockchain. So let's see how did I do that. So I don't exactly remember what project was this. So this was from some other project that I had used. So there was this GoQuorum service. GoQuorum is a offering. You can find it in the marketplace. I'll show you what marketplace is in some time. So from there, I had to deploy a specific workbench, and then the data was sent to the backend server. So there is a buzz in the tech field today that web 3.0 might soon hit us, and then the backend might change, and then we're going towards metaverse, and a lot of other things are going on. So I just tried to work around with this blockchain, keeping blockchain itself as a database. We tried to implement this thing into the project. So there was a custom visual model for, I guess, scanning something. So custom vision is again a small part that comes under the umbrella of cognitive services. So I'll show that to you in a while. Yeah, so this is the whole thing of the project. So there was a map service as well, which was again used from a Google Map API. And then I had used Azure Spatial Anchors, and custom vision was used for scanning. So this is a recent application that I had built. I guess that was for Azure. So let us see whatever we have seen so far. I'll just give you a brief introduction of what Power Platform is, because since we spoke about zero coding, right? Any one of us here who are not a fan of coding, or and they're still interested in doing some great apps You can definitely go ahead and check out this something called as Microsoft Power Apps. So as the tagline says, it's less code and more power. So there is absolutely no need to code much here. Of course, there might be a minimal coding involved, but you can build an app, like at least I have built an app, MR based app, mixed reality based app, without coding a single line of code. Everything was a single simple drag and drop interface. So Power Platform is again a huge umbrella. There are four subdivisions in that: Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. And yeah, there are a couple of connectors that you can leverage: AI builders and common data services. So okay, let's come back to this later. So without further delay, let us just jump into Microsoft Azure. So if you are new to this, so definitely you have to go to portal.azure.com and log in with your credentials. If you're a student by any chance, so you'll have $100 free initially. Once you sign up, you'll get $100 free, and then you can try anything that you want. So as I said in the presentation as well, it is a pay as you go model. And so of course some of the services are actually chargeable, so you need a couple of credits for that. But since I'm a Microsoft student ambassador, we get some credits per month allocated to us, so I'm using it with that uh, thing itself. So now let's say you want to create something, like let's say a simple custom vision thing. Okay, so how do we go ahead and actually create one? So usually they show you with the website. Even there's a learning part that shows you with the website. So with I thought always the websites are shown. Let's see what else can we do with this. How can we deploy other things? So if you want to create anything, it's called a resource here. In terms of Microsoft Azure, it is called a resource. So if you just go ahead and click on create a resource, you can see all the available resources that are here. Right. So there are a couple of categories here as well. It says AI plus machine learning, analytics, blockchain, compute, containers, databases, developer tools. So I guess we are now quite familiar with all this because we saw the same terms coming up in the PPT as well. So developer tools, we had just seen what were they, and there are a few more, of course. And then DevOps has these many services: identity, integration. I said Logic App, the APIs that you can use, right? So that is again here. So there is custom connector if you want to build something, so that's also available. And then there is IoT. What does IoT provide with you, right? There are a couple of things that IoT provides you. And then there's IT and management tools for automation and stuff. You can definitely again come to Azure. And there is media migration, mixed reality, which is again a huge thing today, so you can try it out as well. It is also available on Microsoft Azure. I have personally used spatial anchors for one of my recent projects where I built a navigation system. Like, I know pretty much of us have heard of this game called as Pokemon Go, which was totally built on something on these concepts, on these lines. So what I did, we created a simple app again, and it was used to navigate around, and it used to show you a marker that yes, you have to go straight, take a right, just like the way any other map shows. Like, you have Google Maps that tells you, okay, you have let's say I put a destination, then it shows you, yeah, you have to go this way, there's traffic here, you might reach at this time, there are these many kilometers remaining from your destination to this place, so in real time. So something similar to this, we had done it in mixed reality. So you have to just hold your mobile, and then you have to just put in your location, and that would take you all the way. Like, let's say you want to go from uh, for example, in your house, I'm just saying, this is a very vague example. Let's say you want to go from your room to the kitchen. Okay, you want to get some cookie. So what you do, you can, let's say you don't know your way to the kitchen, which of course I said it's a very dumb example, but still. So you can just put in that thing that you want to go to kitchen, and you hold your mobile, and along with your mobile, it shows you green marker. Okay, it says, yeah, go in this way. Or you can even insert a 3D model which will tell you that, yeah, come with me, I'll show you the way, and then it'll walk along with you all the way to your destination. And then once your destination is reached, right, and it will tell you that yes, your destination is it, this is where you wanted to come, and the time taken and everything again will be shown. Of course, I did everything, whatever I've told so far was done using spatial anchors. This was something I called it as internal navigation using Azure spatial anchors. So this is one of the application, but there are a lot more other features that you can use. Then there's monitoring and diagnostics, networking, security, storage, and a web app, Functions app is again a serverless compute option that is available on Microsoft Azure. And app service environment, API management, Azure Cognitive Search, communication services, web pub sub is basically publish and subscribe thing, and Azure Spring Cloud. So there are a lot of these things that you can see. So now let's say we want to create what was the thing we were supposed to create? Yeah, a custom vision API. So I think before that I'll just show you what cognitive services means. Okay. So I said cognitive services is a huge umbrella under Microsoft's Azure, right? Sorry. Yeah. So Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services has actually these five main divisions. That is, one is called speech, one is called a language, one is called a vision, another one is called decision, and finally it's called open AI. So apply advanced language models to a variety of use cases. Okay. So this is a recent release from Microsoft. Earlier this wasn't there. Instead of this, there was something else, but now this is added as well. Of course, Microsoft Azure gets updated on a regular basis. So I mean, this just happened with me. So a month ago, not even a month, I guess 15 days, a week ago, I tried working on a project with blockchain. And then after a week, I guess on this Monday, 3 days back, 2 days back, I again tried to do the same thing. But I could see a lot of changes that had happened from the time I deployed it before to the time I worked now. So there were a lot of changes. There were a lot of new updates that had happened. So why did I say this is because it's not sure that what you did once sometime, like let's say 2 3 months ago, might be the same even today. It might be, definitely, no doubt, but there are high chances that that might have been updated to something else. A lot of more features must be added to that, or anything like that, right? So that is that. And decision has anomaly detector. I know many of us must be who work with AI must be very familiar with this term. What is anomaly detector? Content moderator is something, like a project that we used to do. So Twitter sentiment analysis and stuff, so you can do it using moderator here. If there is any offensive language, then that will definitely search it for you and tell you, yes, that this is offensive, you cannot use it. And then there is personalizer, and you can create something, a personal experience for every user. So that is again a great thing you have to explore around. So computer vision, under vision, the first thing that we have is computer vision, analyze content in images and video. There are a couple of small demos associated with it. I'll show you how to do that. And then this custom vision, this is what I'll be creating one and showing you today, how to create a custom vision. And of course, this is a free of cost. There is a free tier as well, so you can use it with free tier too. If you just have a subscription, you're good to go. Go ahead, create. You'll not be charged for this. Of course, there's another tier in this called standard. I'll just explain what are tiers. Custom vision, customize image recognition to fit your business needs. Face API is, again, let's say you wanna identify emotions on people's face, right? On a person's face. So what you can do, you can run this API. It'll show you what is the accuracy with which it can predict that he's sad or he's happy, or what are the emotions in his face, right? And then there is custom. Well, for the language, there is, I think, conversational language understanding. Lewis is something that you must have heard about. And question answering, sentiment analysis. Like let's say I write a text, like let's say, alas, something happened. So that is something I'm saying out of, sadness, right? It's not a very happy expression. So alas is the key word there. So something like that. These things are already trained, and you can check that out as well. And there is entity recognition for common use and domain specific terms again. And speech has speech to text, text to speech. I am pretty sure all of us must be knowing this. Cortana and stuff are already available. And then the speech translation, you can have a real time translation, and then speaker recognition as well. So now let's see what is this. Yeah. So here, this is a demo for computer vision. Okay. Let's choose something else. Yeah, I'll choose this. Okay, this is something that is found on any. Let's say you get a chips packet, and then you can find this, or a chocolate bar. You can find this at the back of that particular product, right? So, but let's see what has this particular thing analyzed. So there is text, there is screenshot. It's a newspaper. Is it a typography, or is it a document? So it has given you a couple of scores here, right? It's 99% sure there's text. Of course, there is text. Humans can understand it better, but let's say how computer analyzes it, right? So is it a screenshot? Yes, it looks like a screenshot. It is 95% sure. Is it a newspaper? Because newspapers are usually in black and white. So it is 88% sure that it must be a newspaper, but it is not. It's fine. It's okay. So is there a font? Yes, there are fonts in this. Is it a document? It is 18% sure it's a document because it doesn't look like a document in any case. So it has shown a couple of other things as well here. So this is how it does. Let's say with other example. Okay. So I'm just taking a JSON thing here. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Everything has its something that I cannot read. Okay, see, as a human, I cannot read. There's something here. Okay, everything has its dash, but not everyone sees it. Okay, now I'm giving this to my computer vision thing. Okay, I've created a resource and I'm giving this to my computer vision resource. Now let's see what does it come out with that. Okay, so status succeeded, of course, right? Through recognition results. Now the results start. There's a bounding box. I'm pretty sure what is a bounding box. You must all be aware. So basically, when you give something to an algorithm, it basically puts these green colored boxes around and then says where is it located. So that's what it is doing here, the bounding box. And in which bounding box, what has it's found, right? What is its finding? Yeah. So wait, let me see. Here it hasn't found anything. In this text, it has found you must be the change you. Okay, this is the first bounding box it has identified. Okay, that is a text it found. In this bounding box, in this region, it found this text. You must be the change you. So then again, the next bounding box, it just found you somewhere. Okay, and then must. Okay, and then it's going on splitting. This is the main bounding box. Again, it has subcategorized it into, like you is a different one, must is a different one, b is a different one, the is a different. So that's what it is showing me here. And then again, it goes to next bounding box, wish to see in the world. Again, of course, the next part would be it will subcategorize this again. So that is what it is doing here. And everything has its beauties. Yeah, see, the word was beauty. I couldn't read it here clearly, but the word here was beauty. Okay, so again, this is the next bounding box. Again, subcategorize and then show me. So finally, what is a preview that it should show me? This is what the computer understood, right? You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. So this is how powerful this particular tool is, or this particular resource is. So you can literally give anything. This is a blurred picture. What can you see here? A metro, some two people going, but it's very much blurred. You cannot see it clearly. But this particular thing has seen something here, right? Let's say what has it identified. There's a train, of course. It's a train, it's a subway station, and land vehicle, because train, of course, is a land vehicle. It's a subway train, right? I'm sorry, it's a subway train. There's a person here, and there is another person with the bounding box. It's telling you, okay, and a vehicle and stuff. So name is train platform. So these are the tags it has given. So train platform, station building, indoor subway track, etc., etc., etc. So people waiting at a train station. This is what it is finally able to comprehend, right? Your model has comprehended from this picture that there are people waiting for a train at any, like, let's say, train station, which is quite right. So there are people here who are waiting here, and then there's a train passing by. There might be other people who are waiting here as well. So it is just saying you that it's a people waiting at a train station. So see, it is able to come up with its own thing. It can tell you what the situation is. So this is how powerful computer vision API is. Then let's say this is something that we are going to create now. So I'll just show you what exactly this is. I don't think so. There is anything. Okay, no issues. We'll create one. So to create any resource, okay. Before that, I'll tell you what resource groups are. This is very much important to understand what exactly. Why should you exactly, go ahead and have them. So let's say you're working on a project. Okay, so your project requires something from IoT, something from, like, let's say, AI, something from, let's say, database, and a couple of API handling platforms like logic apps and stuff. So what do you do? So you're not just working on one project. Let's say you're working on 10 different projects, or like let's say three different. 10 is very big number. So let's say you're working on three different projects. So now there might be a chance that you will be confused of what exactly is the resource that I had created for which project. So what Azure does for you is it creates something called as a resource group. So this resource group, you can consider it to be like a bucket, and you can put a name to that. Okay, so there is a bucket in which you put, okay, I'm working on project number A, sorry, project A. So project A has logic app, project A has AI related service, project A has something else. Okay, so you keep it together and keep it aside. Now your project B has, like, let's say something related to blockchain, something related to IoT, and a virtual machine. So that is project B. So now there are two, and project C has something, another logic app, and it has another IoT, and it has something else again. So now if you notice here in this scenario that I've just explained you, there are two IoT resources that you have provisioned. There are two function apps, sorry, logic apps that you have provisioned. Now there might be a chance that you might forget that, okay, this might be of project B or project A. You're not sure, right? Or B or C or A, whatever it is, you're not sure. So what you do initially itself, when you create the resource, you allocate it to a particular resource group which is holding your project. So you will be saved from this confusion that, okay, which particular thing am I supposed to change? Or let's say you're a new developer joins your team. He's not sure how to work around with that. So even it is easier for him. You can say, okay, see, this is the resource group that I've created, resource group A. So whatever you're working on, this is where you'll find all the resources. So he'll also be clear that yes, this is where I have to search and not somewhere else, right? So to clear confusions, there are something called as this resource groups. And so there's something called as this marketplace, which we just saw. So yeah, this is that marketplace. So marketplace is again, um, what can I say? It's again a place where you can explore a lot more other services. Trust me, there are, I don't even know how many services are existing here. So you can just click on see more, you can find thousands more services. And these services are not just offered by Microsoft, but also a couple of companies who give out their services on Microsoft Azure. So they're partnered here and they give out services. Like, let's say a simple example, Nvidia. Okay, Nvidia is a company which we all know, right? It produces graphic cards and stuff, powerful GPUs and stuff. So they have, what they have done, this is managed by Nvidia Corporation and Nvidia Image for AI using GPUs. So you can use this if you're using working on, like, let's say some image related projects, or like, let's say an AI, what is that, computer vision related projects or something like that, right? So you can use these powerful GPUs if you want. Then there is something, some other app robotic, RPA robotic process automation, and then Blue Prism Intelligent. These are all given out by some other companies. And see, there are a couple of softwares as well which are given out by companies, and you can just use them as a service. So again, it is considered under a software as a service. You can see which category does it come under. So this comes under a virtual machine. This particular BIND, this comes under Azure application. Again, Azure application, virtual machine. You can see, like, marketplace has a lot of them. Okay, so the recent one that I had used comes under this. So I had used something called as, let me just search. Oh yeah, and keep be aware of this word called as deprecating. If something is under deprecation, try to avoid such things because they might be soon taken off the platform. Okay, so if it is deprecating, try to, like, stay a little away from them. Let's just see, let me just search, or else that's better, I guess. Quorum. I said you right. I had used Quorum for my project. So yeah, see, this is again a third party thing. It's hosted by a company called as Consensus, and it's a start kit. It's a dev start kit that I want. This will actually give me a blockchain at the back end, so I can build my apps on that particular blockchain. So this is something that, not exactly given out by Microsoft, but again, it's offered as a service for you on Microsoft Azure, right? So you can choose what you want and then you can click on create. So that is about the marketplace. So you can go ahead and see what are the other things. I'm pretty sure you can find a lot of solutions for your applications in the marketplace, right? Because I mean, the variety is so much that definitely you'll hit on something that you want, right? And just like, let's say blockchain is something that is very naive right now, but look at the number of services that are already available. And compute, like, let's say IoT, what is there in IoT? Yeah, see, there are these many things. And mixed reality, let's say. See, spatial anchors, these are given to you by Azure, but see here. Yeah, see, HCL has given, sorry, where is that go? Yeah, HCL. Here it is. HCL has given you something, VSI, Hollow Medicine, lot of other things, right? HCL has given to you as an application itself. So, I mean, just look at the thing here. So, it's a new technology, but still there are a lot of options available. Imagine something like a web dev or something. What are the other options that are available? So, I just introduce you to this platform. I would suggest you guys to go ahead and explore each and every bit of this. But now, since we are running short of time, let's see quickly how to create a resource. As I told you initially as well, doing anything here is like, you're creating a resource. A resource is being created. So I'll go ahead and create a custom vision resource. So I have to go here. If it is not here, don't worry, you can just type here custom vision, because I'm sure I want to create a custom vision resource. So I'm going here. Yeah, see, I found a custom vision resource. So plan, it is saying custom vision. I'll show this in some time. So I'm clicking on create. Okay. So this is a thing that you'll see most of the time when you're creating something on Azure. Any resource that you create, you'll see a form like this. Okay. You can call it a form or an application or whatever you want to call. I call it as a form. So this is a thing that you will see usually. So if you, let's say, the create, it will be different for various services. Like, let's say custom vision has this. Let me just open a different service. Let's say web app. Okay, I want to create a web app. So let's say a web. Okay, but I can go here. I can go here. I can create here. Yeah. See, this is having a different set of the rules. What should be a web app name? What should be a runtime stack? These are the available stacks. Should it be a Python, PHP, Node, Java, .NET, Ruby, whatever you want, and where do you want to deploy that resource, right? And a lot of other things here. Then you can do this, but this takes some time, so I'm stopping it here. This is just for you to understand. So let's see how to create one custom vision. So you can choose your particular subscription that you're on. Mine is on Visual Studio Enterprise, so I'm choosing that. If you're a student, you will have um, student, I think, student subscription or something like that. And if you're having a credit card, you have linked your credit card, then you'll have something related to that. So resource group, I think now you're familiar with what. So I'll just give here as Azure demo. Okay, demo one. Okay, this is fine. It's happy now. So Azure demo one and region. This is where your particular region. This is where your resource will be deployed. This is that place. This is that data center that you're choosing where you want to deploy. So since I'm in India, let me choose something related to India. Yeah, see, Central India. So it is always preferable to choose something closest to your place. Not necessarily, but you can choose wherever you want. You can use West Europe as well. But I'll choose Central India for now. So the name, okay, I'll just give Azure demo itself as the name. It's happy, and the training resources are here. Okay, it's not. I'll just give 22 invalid. Okay, it's fine. So now the training pricing tier. As I told you, there are different varieties, and you have to pay for anything you use. Okay, anything, any resource that you hire, you'll have to pay for that thing. Let's say like a rented house. You take a rented house, you stay there, you pay for the monthly the rent that you're using their house. Similarly, here also you'll have to pay for such things. So now there are some services, some services, not all services. Some services have something called as free tier. Okay, so for example, here let's say 2 transactions per second, and there are 2 projects. Okay, this is a free tier, and you won't be charged for this. Zero charging will be applicable. But there is something called a standard tier, which actually does 10 transactions per second and n number of projects. So this is something that you'll be charged for. Okay, so you can see the pricing details again if you want to see how much will I be charged. So you can see that here it is. So 0 to 1 million transactions, you will be having 75 rupees per 1,000 transactions, so on and so forth. This is for deployment again. So S1 is something I will be using, right? No, we are using S0. S0 is not here. Mm, Okay, no issues. We'll just see. This is just for you to give a brief idea of how things are. So S1 web container will have these charges incurred, and then free container will have no charges incurred, but you can do 5,000 transactions per month. That is the limit that is given to you. And if you're staying in some other state, you can choose this, right? $1 per thousand transactions, so on and so forth. So I'll be choosing a free tier here. Okay. Prediction pricing tier, again the same. Training and prediction is something you guys must be knowing, and AI will be using that. So again, you can view the pricing here as well. Yeah, see S1 free, S2, S3. So now I am done filling this. Mm, yeah, network. All networks, including the internet, can access this resource. I'll keep it to all every time. And then tags, if you want to give something, I'm not giving anything here. And then you can click on this. So now what happens here, once you do this, it will run a simple validation to see whether all the details that you have given is right or not, or have you missed on some important details. For example, if I don't give anything here in this name, like let's say I give it blank, but you can see that there is a red small star here, right? There's a small star, which means that it's a compulsory field. Okay. So if you miss out on something like this, then the validation will be shown as failed. Or if there is some other small error in your filling or something like that, it will again be showing you failed with the reason why is it failed, right? So but my validation here is, again, it's running the final validation. Let's see whether it is passed or failed. Okay, I have successfully filled everything, so it is giving me that it is passed. So now I'll click on, and there's summary here, both Visual Studio Enterprise, Central India, Azure Demo 22, training tier is this, um, pricing tier is this, and type, all networks can access this. This is summary. So now I'll just click on this particular button which says create. Okay, so now it is initializing the deployment. So I think you must be knowing what goes on in the backend here, right? When I do something like this, it goes to all the way to that particular data center, and then there's an hypervisor that allocates a particular thing, and then it goes to the server, and then you'll get that thing. Your server is allocated, your resources being allocated. So basically, this all happens in this background. Okay, when you click on this create, so it all the way goes to that particular server, and then it goes to that particular hypervisor, looks into every single fact that is there, and then it allocates a server that is vacant there, and then it gives you that thing back. So all this will take some time, but look at the speed that Microsoft has. So by the time I was just explaining you what goes in the back end, it gave me a resource. It gave me this thing that, yeah, the resource is ready now, you can use it, it's yours, right? So okay, I have two Azure 22 demo prediction. Let's say I'll just go with one now. And you can find all your keys and endpoints here. So if you want to see the keys, you can click on this. Don't try to copy this. I'll be deleting this after this particular webinar. Okay. And the endpoint again is shown here, and the region is also shown. So this is something that you will have to note down when you are working on something, let's say integration. If you want to if you want to create an API call from your local web app to this, you'll have to have this keys ready with you. Okay. And let's say an overview, what is there? Okay, this is there, API key. Let's say I want to jump to this portal, custom vision portal. I think training will take time. So this is how you create one. I've created one before for one of my previous projects, so I'll show you that. Oh god, which one was that? Okay, I'll just see one. Okay, this is how you go to that particular portal where you want to work. Okay. Yeah. So let's say I've done something called as a brand detection here. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll just load this project. This is already trained. If you want, you can train it again. So nothing much. I've just taken a KFC thing here, Starbucks and Zara, and a couple of other brands. So this was something I was testing out. So now what I'll do, I'll just give it a quick test. It is trained already. Everything is ready. So now let's say I want to find some pic related to Zara. Okay. So I'll just take this, copy. Okay, wait, let me open this, not this. I'm sorry. Open image in a new tab. Okay, so I've copied this URL, and what I'll do, I'll just paste it here and I'll just see. Okay, see, it fetched the thing from there. Now it is running. So now we can see that it has given me with a 43% probability that it is Zara, and 39.4% that it is Starbucks, 16.6% that it is KFC. Okay, so now let's see something. Let's find it for KFC again. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. An image in a new tab. I'll again copy. Oh my god, this is right. Wait, let me refresh. Okay. Yeah, here. I'll paste this and I'll try it again. So it is running the model now. Oh, okay. It's SVG, so it's not supporting. Let me open this one. It fetched the image. See, it is showing you with a 93% accuracy that it is KFC, and Starbucks is 6 point. Of course, it's not Zara. So, of course, here it's very evident that it is for KFC. Don't worry, the previous results were because I had trained a very minimal amount of images. And when you are training something for this, especially if you're working in the field of AI, so you must be knowing that after a lot of training, after a lot of validations itself, your accuracy increases. Imagine giving just 10 images, that is nowhere sufficient for such classification models. So I was running a classification model, but the best part here is I hadn't coded anything to get that accuracy. If you have noticed, I was just doing it right in front of you, however I did, right? So browse, sorry, not this. Clicking on this, see, I did everything right in front of you. So this is the power that Microsoft Azure provides us, right? So you just saw how to create a resource, you just saw how to go around with that. And if you want to make something different, like if you want to make a web API call, as I told you, you need those keys and endpoints. Let's say you want to do it in Python, so you can click on this, you can read this documentation on how exactly do you go around and do it with Python, right? And trying to build an application, so on and so forth. So basically, this is your resource that was created for you. So similarly, you can go ahead and create virtual machines, you can create your web apps, you can host your web apps, you can do anything on Azure, right? Anything, as a student or as a developer or as anything else, right? You can do literally anything on Microsoft Azure. If you want to create an API, then boom, here it is, logic apps, right? You can go ahead, click on add, and then okay, it'll take some time. Yeah, see, you can just fill this form out and then you're good to go. So this is how you can leverage Microsoft Azure in your projects. And so now, since you have learned all these things, now there might be a question that, okay, I want to refer to some resources, where do I go? Okay, head on to Microsoft Azure, powerapps.com. As I told you, I didn't. This session was not on Power Apps, so I didn't go to cover much on Power Apps. I just gave a brief introduction of what is it. So learn, explore option tutorials, Microsoft use cases. There are a couple of YouTube channels like Microsoft Developer, Microsoft Reactor, a lot more other channels where you can see experts come out there and then give out their experience tutorials and many other things. Then there is Microsoft Learn platform, which I would definitely suggest everyone should try it out. So Microsoft Learn is a platform where Microsoft experts and a couple of other people give out their content, and there is content literally on everything. Okay, I think I have time just to show you how that looks like. So Microsoft Learn, you can go here and see what others are learning, and these are all your learning paths that are available for you, right? The one that I told you is this one. This is something that I had authored, and yeah, see, this is the whole set of learning path that you can follow. And I think this is where you can, yeah, see, there's the same image I showed you how to go around. Everything is explained here. So this is that platform of Microsoft Learn. So with that, I would like to conclude this session on Microsoft Azure. I hope it was helpful for all of you. Did not just focus more on the theoretical side, but of course, I think I was able to give you some practical insights as well. So, with that, I would like to conclude the session. Thank you for having me in the session. And yeah, that's it from my side.
So I think it was a very nice session. Thank you very much. If you have any kind of queries, you guys can directly put them in the chat, and our mentor will be more than happy to help you with the things. And if you are not having any kind of doubt right now, you can also connect with the mentor on LinkedIn. So he'll be happy to help you there as well. Yeah. So I don't think there are any other doubts. So I must say thank you very much, sir, for coming here and taking out your time and explaining the concept so well. And one more thing, one compliment from my side, your PPT was just amazing. It was so amazing. Means the colors were also very nice and the things were. If it's possible, please share that PPT with me. It would be really very helpful for me and the audience. I'll share with the audience as well if they demand. And thank you
Definitely,
very
I'll
much,
share it
sir. We
across.
hope to see you in the other broadcast as well with another topics. And you took the session from very basics to very advanced level. Thank you very much for coming here and giving your time and delivering the precious knowledge to all our attendees. Thank you guys for
Thank
being
you.
such a lovely audience. And you can connect with the mentor anytime on LinkedIn. Till then, stay safe. Tata, bye bye, good night.